time meeting me. I'm Safrianna Lughna, the Queer Spirit Guide. I am a Druidic priestess, CEO, speaker, author, trauma therapist, turned transformational mentor. I'm just a multi-passionate human being. And today, as part of the visibility challenge I'm doing, day 6 today, I wanted to continue to unpack these anxieties that I have about sharing my work that is not free on the internet. So in this case, today I'm going to talk about Daddy's Girl, which was my second poetry memoir. And Daddy's Girl was really a triumph of looking at the way that I had related to masculine energy, to the patriarchy, to the energy of work, and just so many things having to do with sort of the American dream and all of that. So a few days ago, I shared about a woman's work. Daddy's Girl is the spiritual successor in a way because it did technically come out after the original draft of A Woman's Work. And then, of course, I went on to write essays in the second edition of A Woman's Work. And that second edition was directly inspired by the design of Daddy's Girl. So something fun about Daddy's Girl is that I designed the cover myself. So this is 15-year-old me on the cover working on my dad's car, my dad's van. And you can see my little goth bracelets and my goth t-shirt. I'm wearing goggles here. And then on the back, we have, I believe this is my 8th grade picture. I'm pretty sure it's my 8th grade school picture. So gosh, I would have been 13, 14 in this photo. Probably, I think 13. And, this whole book is just like a love letter to my younger self, breaking free. And so if you are a poetry fan, if you're a memoir fan, if you have daddy issues, this book is for you. Of all of the books that I have written, this one, in many ways, it's hard to say. Like, A Woman's Work is very personal. A Woman's Work, being my first poetry memoir, was very personal. But this one, I feel like, is even clearer. It gives you such a snapshot of something in life. And so really, really love this one. Very, very proud of it. And I have just gotten immense feedback from people about how they were glad to know they weren't alone in having some of these daddy issues. There's a poem in here called the eldest, something about the eldest daughter. Let me see if we can find that one, because that one, people have said, are like, oh my God, I didn't know that this was a thing. But so many of us have these collective experiences. Yes. Top 10 qualities of parentified daughters. And a lot of people in that one, particularly the top 10 qualities of parentified daughters, feel very called out and very seen and very glad to be not alone. So I just wanted to share this book with you. And I'm going to read actually from the very, very end of it, just a quick section, because as a part of this visibility challenge, we're talking about stories we've never told. We're sharing pictures we've never shared. We're just kind of putting ourselves out there. And that's part of the fun of this. Hi, Holly. Good to see you here. So just like with A Woman's Work, which I shared one of the essays from the back, I have a few sort of like Q&A in the back of this one. I don't really have an essay like I do in A Woman's Work, but the Q&A were questions that people had submitted to me that they wanted to know about the book. So one of the questions was, what did you notice as you were writing Daddy's Girl, and how did this book help you transform? So I'm going to just read this really quick. Earlier this year, 2024, I released A Woman's Work, which cracked me open rather like an egg right into a frying pan. Holy fuck, I'd done the thing. I shared so much of my story in the most soul-led and authentic way possible. As the cherry on top nod from the universe, without aiming for it, I landed the #1 new release in both LGBTQI+ poetry and contemporary poetry. What a wild day that was. Honestly, I haven't even processed that still deeply, that I just casually made a #1 new release. Like, Yay me, so cool, like, it's my dream, right? But yes, what a wild day that was. I immediately took a sabbatical and integrated all the upleveling that happened as a result of unveiling my voice and truth so powerfully. Because of that experience, I felt fully committed to seeing Daddy's Girl through, as painful as I knew it would be. In my father's dying days in 2021, all of my childhood trauma resurfaced. As I was swept into being the family savior yet again, I was simultaneously experiencing a people pleaser era so insidious because of how blind I was to it. I was barreling myself towards permanent disability and irreversible chronic illness. Being a hashtag daddy's girl was once an important part of my identity, but at this stage, I started to realize it was no longer a badge of honor. It was a mantle of martyrdom. It was only about 2 years after my own fibromyalgia diagnosis, and I was in more pain than ever when I got the call about Dad's worsening diagnosis. He shared his nebulous plans about his estate, revealing my sister and stepmother wouldn't be cared for once he was gone. Before I knew it, dissociated and codependent, I found my way back into the den of depression and despair that was my teenage home. God, that trip was bad. That's a story. From there, I began writing poems about my grief and anger, poems like Clatter of Voices, Scapegoat, Grief, In My Defense, and all the poems surrounding his death and estate. I processed my relationship with my stepmother in poems like Dear Evil Stepmother, The Vegan Trinity, Step Monster, and Obituary, all written in later 2021 after Dad's passing and the shit show that was his estate. In the end, my stepmother's continued verbal abuse and constant nagging me to miraculously do what Dad failed to do led me to draw a boundary. I passed his affairs back to the state to be handled because neither of my mother figures volunteered to take it over when I said I was finished. I took a breath before working with Robin Kinzer on editing the poems I'd already done. Her feedback was wonderful, and we had a live workshop session lasting many hours where we refined some of the original poems. The most unrecognizable now being Roller Coasters and Water Slides, which is so much stronger for it. She also shared the inspiration that eventually led to me doing the extensive rewrites in the 2024 writing stint, bringing in more of my flaws and exploring my relationship with my other family members too. Picking the draft back up to edit in 2024 brought this old familiar swell of feelings bobbing right back up to the surface. But this time, I wasn't in the middle of swirling chaos. I was standing a few years later, years filled with more healing, unpacking my codependency, couples therapy, art therapy, growing a business, life coaching, learning my biological number, and major spiritual upgrades. Each new discovery changing everything all over again. Yes. Now, I saw the wisdom in the poems. I saw the gifts. As I wrote new content, I found myself creating happier poems, fresh perspectives on myself, my family, and my partnerships. Poems like In the Space Lab, Papa and the Cows, Sky Fathers, Unlimited Pancakes, The Long Ride Home, and To Be Contained in His Arms were all tender reflections of how stable I am now. In 2021 and even years prior, there was a constant quake of new trauma and triggers because I still couldn't draw boundaries or hold my own against elders' pressures. Today, I am an immovable statue if I truly don't want to do something. It's a night and day kind of difference that can only be gained by looking our shame, fear, disappointment, doubt, and dread directly in the eyes, smiling and choosing to love it all. So yeah, this book was just immense processing. And it was really, this book being my third, I think is where I really started to find a little bit more confidence in putting my voice out there, even though A Woman's Work had been so vulnerable and so raw. Between the two books, I'm still more proud of this one. I think that this one is a stronger book overall. But it really was the time where I felt like I've got this. Like I can do this. I can design a fantastic cover. I can format beautiful poems. I am a gifted writer. I can do this. Like it really started to solidify in so many ways. And so yeah, I just wanted to share Daddy's Girl with you today. You can get your own signed copy of Daddy's Girl on my website, safrianna.com, and you just click books and you'll find all of my books. You can get it on Amazon, and I think you can still get this one on Barnes& Noble right now. In 2026, I'm really excited to say that I am going to be expanding my repertoire of where my books are released. and be releasing more books. In fact, there more than likely will be at least 2 books coming out in 2026. So I just can't get over the fact that I have done this thing, that I'm here because I look back at that, little second grader who held a little spiral bound plastic covered book that she had written for the very first time and knew and had that, the emotions are coming up, had this knowing in her soul that what she was meant to do was be a writer. And I'm here and I'm a writer. So thank you to all of you who have believed in me, who have bought my books, who have cheered me on, because it means the world to me. And I'm so grateful to be living my dream. Sure, life is fucking complicated, my friends, and our economy is on fire, and there's so much chaos and pain and suffering in the world right now. And we still are meeting our dreams and our desires every day. We are still building lives of integrity and goodness and kindness and compassion in the world and our creativity. We're still doing the damn thing, my friend. So I want you to know I see you, I believe in you, and I'm cheering you on. And thank you to all of you who have done the same for me. It means the world. And here I am, visible, crying on camera. Ooh, got some real tears here, and I clearly need it. So I love you all so much. And just know I am here backing your dreams just as much as I'm backing my own, because we are all so important and all an essential part of the collective. So until next time, my friends, I'm Safrianna Lughna. I love you all so much. Bye for now.